So, hey, welcome to Flashback Monday post Romantic Times Book Review magazine. We are moving forward. I missed that magazine terribly. We are doing August 2017. These are new releases for August 2017. I don't know what I'm going to do when we catch up to 2025, but we'll have to think if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. And my gal pal is here. There she is. Smokey, look up. There you go. There we go. There's my girl. So, anyways, welcome to the DAILEY book series, Unseen KSTINA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no demons, no fancy smancy stuff going on here. So, we have a couple of worn out ones. I have a feeling these will hit the disposal pile soon. And this is a series we're gonna be doing. I'm collecting these now. I'm gonna start doing these. I want to do these. So Carol, J. Perry, Grave Errors. For residents of Salem, Massachusetts, the day after Halloween brings empty candy wrappers, sagging pumpkins, and a community-wide identity crisis. That is until Lee Barrett's TV production class suggests extending the spooky season with the traditional Mexican celebration, Dia de los Muertos. But when the students discover not all of Salem's dead are resting in peace, the post-October blues don't seem so bad after all. See what happens. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let's go to the Regency side of town. And, where's my other one? Catherine Wilde believes she has crushed on any lingering romantic feelings toward Brandon Devil, who spurred her 6 years ago. And now that rough-edged rogue needs polishing to his claim inheritance, she is willing to strike a practical bargain. Kate will mold the brash privateer into acceptable nobleman if Devereux will safeguard her from the brigands on a voyage to recover her lost family treasure. Oh, hey, Selena! Naked guy on the cover! Hey, and if you haven't seen my February naked guy on the cover, go check it out. I thought that was good for February. Janet Dailey. Texas Fierce. She's the Texas lady. That's what I call Janet Dailey, the Texas lady. He came home to sell his family's failing ranch, but 20-year-old Bull Tyler sets foot on the Rim Rock. He's determined to tame the rugged land and make it his own. First, he'll have to take on the powerful Prescott clan, who'll do anything to get their hands on the Tyler's holding, even murder. Marriage? How about marriage to the enemy? A Montague and Capulet saga. Try marriage. Up. More cowboys. Jennifer Ryan. Montana Heat. If there's supposed to be heat, why is he wearing a thermal shirt? He discovered her during a Montana blizzard. Freezing cold and possibly vulnerable, a little boy by her side. Undercover DEA agent Beck Trigger Cook is astonished to recognize Ashley Swan, award-winning actress, a famous beauty, and missing for over a year. To keep her and her child hidden from a sadistic madman, he secrets the pair away to his isolated home. No longer a prisoner and protected at Hope Ranch, Ashley recovers and learns the tall, tempting agent may have a dark past, but isn't destroyed his sense of humor. We fall in love. Miss Michaels. Need to know. Through all their missions and adventures, the tight-knit group of friends who make up the sisterhood have learned one vital lesson. Everybody, whether good guy or bad guy, has a weak spot. In this case of Yoko Wan's dear friendship, Garland Lee, the multi-million selling performer known as America's beloved songbird, that weak spot was trusting her lawyer, Arthur Forrester. For years, he secretly take advantage of her faith in him to siphon off her fortune. Oh, we gotta go get the fortune. Cruel guy. Has my girl. She's sleeping. She's sleeping. I need to figure out how to do her. A cam. Louise Penny, Glass House. When a mysterious figure appears in the Three Pines one cold November day, Ahmed Gamache and the rest of the villagers are curious, then wary. Though rain and sleet, the figure stands unmoving, staring ahead. From the moment the creature's shadow falls over the village, Gamache, now chief superintendent of Surrey Duquoc, suspects his deep roots as a dark purpose. Yet he does nothing. What can he do? Only watch and wait. And his hope-mounting fears are not realized. But when the figure vanishes overnight and a body is discovered, it falls to Gamache to discover if a debt has been paid or levied. See what happens. Shall we do a... Here we go. I'll do this. Smoke. Smoke. People watching. People watching Smokey. She's sleeping. Smoke. Smoke. There you go. She's sleeping. Oop. She's got a boo-boo. We gotta put some stuff on your boo-boo. Hello. Okay. So I'll put that few seconds up there. She got a boo-boo. I'm gonna have to put some Neosporin on that boo-boo. She got a little scratch by her ear. Speaking of cats, Shirley Rousseau Murphy, cat shining bright. And if you haven't read Miss Braun either, we've got our murder mysteries by the point of the view of the cat. And you haven't watched If Then Dog Days of Summer and Cats Too, please go watch that. A springtime in Mollinia Point and the close-knit seaside hamlet is overjoyed to welcome the arrival of 3 new residents. Dulcie has given birth to a trio of adorable kittens, 2 little boys as pale as sand and 1 winsome calico girl. While proud new father Joe Gray can't wait to teach Buffin, Stryker, and Courtney about the world, he wants to keep his precious offspring safe from his detective work, secretly helping solve crime along the human friends at Mollinia Point. Though they're bold and growing, the kittens are still innocent of the dangers of the outside world, including a ring of car thieves who have hit their village and a slew of small towns along the Northern California coast. The stakes are raised for Joe Gray, DeLucia, and the human companions when the local beautician and one of her customers is found murdered. And it's up to them to solve it. To solve it. Final vow. Amanda Flower. Summer wedding at Barton's picturesque church was standard procedure for museum director Kelsey Cambridge until the Cherry Foundation, which supports the museum, ordered Kelsey to host her ex-husband's wedding on farm grounds. Really? Really? You've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. Tamera Alexander to wager her heart. I think this is right up there with Janet Dailey. Huh? A little westernish. And oh, here it is. Silas Rutledge, new owner of the North Line Railroad, invests something he has into his venture, partly for the sake of the challenge, but mostly to fear his father's name. One man holds the key to Si's success. General William Guidance Hardings of Nashville Bell mead plantation, but Harding is champagne and thoroughbreds, and Cy Rutledge is beer and bullocks. Cy needs someone to help him maneuver through Nashville society, and when he meets Alexander Jameson, he quickly decides he's found his tutor. But he soon discovers the very train accident his father is blaming for is causing what killed Alexander's fiancée and shattered her world. Oops. Let's see. We have seen this lady often in Romantic Times Book Review. We have also seen her in some Amish mysteries. If Thens, Wanda Brunstedter, The Blessing. The 6-time unique adult sign-up, Nicole Smith, a teenager helping her divorced dad cook for the family. Lisa Brooks, a caterer needing a new recipe. And Todd Williams, a food critic who is curious about the way the Amish women cook. Bill Mason, a member of the hunting club who always gets stuck cooking for his buddies. And Allie Garrett, a police officer's wife who was given the class as an unwanted gift. Lance Fremont, a mailman who smells good food when he delivers packages to the door. A group of people getting together and sharing food. Sounds like Thanksgiving. Ooh, P.T. Deutermann. Red Swan. Set in contemporary Washington, D.C., Red Swan begins with an anonymous phone call from Carson McGill, the Deputy Director of Operations at the CIA, to retired CIA Officer Preston Ender. Henry Wallace is dead, a behind-the-scenes operator at the CIA. Wallace was integral to the agency's secret war against China's National Intelligence Service, which infiltrates government and military offices, major businesses, and systems crucial to our security. Wallace had severely damaged China's Washington spy ring with a devastating ruse, a so-called Black Swan, in which a deep undercover female agent targeted and destroyed a key Chinese official. Now Wallace's mystery death suggested the CIA has become compromised. Oops. You think the enemy's within? We spent all those years worrying about the outside enemy when the enemy was in here all along. Alice Clare, The Devil's Cup. September 12th, 16. A foreign army has invaded England. The country is divided. Some support the rebel barons and Prince Louis of France. Others remain loyal to the king, his rule under threat. King John summons Sir Jose to support him, but can Sir Jose save the king himself? Meanwhile, Josie's daughter Maggie is summoned to Hawkeye Abbey to attend a sick patient in a very distressed state. The elderly woman is warning of terrible danger unless she can complete her mission. She's got a mission. And Cleeves, the Seagull. A visit to her local prison brings Detective Inspector Vera Stanhope face to face with an old enemy. Former Detective Superintendent and now inmate John Brace. Brace was convicted of corruption involvement in the death of a gamekeeper, and Vera played a part in his downfall. Brace promises Vera information about the disappearance of Robbie Marshall, a notorious wheeler dealer, if she will look out for his daughter and grandchildren. He tells her that Marshall is dead, his body buried close to St. Mary's Island in Whitley Bay. However, when a search team investigates, officers find a big surprise, opening up a cold case. A little contemporary romance here. You say it first. No, you say it first. No, you say it first. No, you say it first. Sculptor Nick Mitchell grew up in a family of artists and learned from his father that passion only leads to pain. As he waits on a new commission, he takes a job as a humble carpenter at a theme wedding venue. The job has its perks, mainly the venue's captivating owner, Palace Saunders. Although he won't let love consume him for ecstasy with an expiration, he's all in. Okay? The life she was given. And there's no... Oh, here it is. On a summer evening in 1931, Lily Blackwell glimpses circus lights from the grimy window of her attic bedroom. Lily isn't allowed to explore the meadow around Blackwood Manor. She's never even ventured beyond her narrow room. Mama insisted for Lily's own protection that people would be afraid if they saw her. But on unforgettable night, Lily is taken outside for the first time and sold to the circus. More than 2 decades later, 19-year-old Julia Blackwood has inherited her parents' estate and horse farm. For Julia, home was an unhappy place full of strict rules and forbidden rooms, and she hopes that returning might erase those painful memories. Instead, she becomes immersed in a mystery involving hidden attic room and photos of circus scenes featuring a striking young girl. Karen Slaughter, the good daughter. Let's see. 28 years ago, Charlotte and Samantha Quinn's happy small town life was torn apart by a terrifying attack on their family home. It left their mother dead, it left their father, Pikeville's notorious defense attorney, devastated, and it left the family fractured beyond repair, consumed by secrets from the terrible night. 28 years later, Charlie has followed in her father's footsteps to become a lawyer herself, the ideal good daughter, but when violence comes to Pikeville again and shocking tragedy leaves the whole town traumatized, Charlie is plunged into a nightmare. Among the Dead, J.R. Backlund. Rachel Carver blames herself for the collateral death of an innocent woman in her last case with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. Unable to accept her superior's attempts to cover up the incident, she turned in her badge. When a former partner asked her to consult on a new murder case, she reluctantly agrees, traveling to a small remote mountain community where she is tasked with leading a group of inexperienced detectives on a hunt for a killer. Ooh! Manhunt! Don't like this. Don't like this. Allison Brennan, Shattered. Over a span of 20 years, 4 boys have been kidnapped from their bedrooms, suffocated, and buried in a shallow grave. Serial or coincidence? That's the question investigative reporter Maxine Revere sets out to answer when an old friend begs her to help exonerate his wife, who's been charged with their son's recent murder. But Max can do little to help because the police and DA won't talk to her. They think they have the right woman. Instead, Max turns her attention to the 3 similar cold cases. If she can solve them, she might be able to help her friend. Right? Gina Showalter, Can't Hardly Breathe. When I think of Showalter, I think of paranormal. I don't think of normal contemporary romances. I just don't. Bullied in high school, Dorothea Macia's past is full of memories she'd rather forget. But there's one she can't seem to shake, her long-standing crush on former Army Ranger Daniel Porter. Now that the sexy bad boy has started using her in his personal program, she should kick him out or take him into her bedroom. Okay. We haven't done this series yet. We've done Molly Murphy. So we've talked about this author a lot on this channel. We love Molly Murphy. We will be doing the Royal Highness at some point. RHYS BOWEN on Her Majesty's Frightful Secret Service. There are more important things than being 35th in line for the British crown, and luckily Georgina Rannoch knows her true love, Darcy O'Mara, is one of them. Luckily the Queen agrees, but she has a little mission for Georgia before she can say I do. When Darcy runs off on another secret assignment, I am left to figure out how to travel to Italy, sans maid, and chaperone to help clear my friend Belinda. As she awaits the birth of her baby alone, an opportunity presents itself in a most unexpected way. My cousin the Queen is in need of a spy to attend a house party in the Italian Lake Country. The Prince of Wales and the dreadful Miss Simpson have been invited, and Her Majesty is anxious to thwart a possible secret wedding. Alright. Murdering Mittens. Murderer Wears Mittens. If you haven't watched my If Then Knitting Cozy Mysteries, you gotta watch it. After retrieving fresh lobster nets from a local laundromat, Cass Halloran rushes to attend a last-minute gathering with Knit Circle. But Cass stops not worrying about the lonely boy she's seen hanging around the dryers, and when the school uniform he left behind in a hurry. When the ladies return the lost clothing the next day, they find the child and his younger sister alone, abandoned by their mom. They gotta figure out what happened. Alright. If you have not watched my Fiona Buckley series, please go watch my Fiona Buckley series. I need to put those in a list. I haven't done that. I read book 23 and I absolutely hated it because it had the family catch up, and I love family catch ups. Absolutely love them. But because it was book 23, I hated it. So I went back and started from book 1, and then when I got back to 23, I loved it. And what made it absolutely horrible was the fact that the author died after that. I was so pissed. I saw the series going for 2 more books. It had 2 more books before it wrapped up. The Queen had about another 10 years left, and I was figuring 2 more books to wrap up the series. And the author dies. I was so pissed. So pissed. A Deadly Betrothal, Fiona Buckley. 1579, called upon to help a family friend who is horrified at the return of her errant husband after a 30-year absence. Little does Ursula realize that her involvement in Harrison family domestic dramas will lead to a case of cold-blooded murder. Matters become even more complicated when Ursula is summoned to court to assist the Queen in negotiations with Queen Elizabeth's possible engagement to the Duke of Allenham. The proposed marriage between the Queen and the French Catholic, being 20 years her junior, is causing unrest throughout the kingdom. Like I said, Queen Elizabeth had about another 10 years left in her reign, and I was hoping for 2 more books because I could see where she was going with the series, and maybe there'll be a ghostwriter at some point. I don't know. Alright, we'll do this. I've talked about this series in the past, but Kinsey is a gumshoe detective. I call her a gumshoe because she's gumshoeing in the 80s without a computer and without a cell phone, and she relies on payphones, and half the time, if she'd had a cell phone, she never would have ended up in that situation. But Kinsey relies on payphones. And if she had a cell phone or a computer, she never would have ended up in half the situation she ended up in. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And Kinsey was finally going to get into the computer cell phone age. She was 1 book away from the computer and cell phone age. And then the author died. And there were rumors, just rumors, by the way, 100% rumors, that she left her will, and she said no ghostwriter. There was a outline for the final book. There was an outline written before she died. She died of cancer, but she said no ghost author, and that was it. That was the end. And there was a rumor way before COVID that the husband was negotiating with Lifetime to do the movies, but that never happened either. So it was probably a false rumor. But if you want to read these books, read them in alphabetical order. And I'm seriously saying read them in A, B, C, D, E, F order. Because Y is the last one, and Kinsey is a gumshoe detective. And there is no synopsis in this, but she's always solving a murder mystery, and she's always doing it. There is literally no synopsis in this at all. Wait, let me see what the back says. Nope, no synopsis. But these are really great books. Hold on a second. Okay, I remember this. Kinsey investigates a cold case from 1979 where 4 boys assaulted a classmate and filmed it. The tape went missing and the classmate was murdered in 1989. One of the convicted perpetrators is released and his family hires Kinsey after receiving a ransom demand for the tape. So that's your thing. And like I said, at the end of the book, Kinsey is moving on to the 90s and computers and cell phones, and Sue dies. I want to read what the I want to see what the rest of this says. It's just the epilogue. So, anyways, Y is for yesterday, and I will sorely miss the fact that we never did get a Z at all. And if you could check out Flashback Mondays and the Romantic Time Book Reviews and go back and watch all of them. We started in 2007 and worked our way up to 2016. And if you could check out Voyager recaps every Friday, and every Friday, if you like this book, you might like that book. We're reading Eve Dallas, J.D. Robb every Saturday for the year. And we're unboxing on Sunday. And unlike everybody else on YouTube, I do not know what's in those boxes when they arrive. I do not know. Do not know. Have zero knowledge of what's in those boxes. I open them up, show them to you. We divide them up in these look good for this charity, these look good for that charity, these go to that charity, and they're out of my house in 72 hours. They're gone. So I did a video that it'll show in a couple months. That I was like, oh my god, this book is worth $300. And it was like one of those non-reputable websites. So I looked at another website and it said it was worth $15. It's like, just put it in the box. And it went off to the charity. So anyways, you'll see that in a couple months. But I read a lot and I'm looking forward to doing the next book in a couple of different series. I'm starting about 3 different series. We'll see where that goes. I'm a serious person, and my gal pal here is passed out cold. So have a good one.